That's nice. So you think extension and you think, well, you're trying to gain as much space as possible, but you actually didn't go the whole length.
No, and part of the issue is that every square foot costs money. So often you'll talk to a builder or a contractor, they'll be like, oh, if you're doing this, you might as well dig down. Why do a crawl space? Dig out the whole basement. Why not just go all the way across? And you know, every square foot costs money. It costs money in the build. It costs money that we have to finish it.
Yeah.
And you often don't need it. So let's think about need and function. And so what happened in this house, if we'd gone all the way across the back of the house, the daughter would have lost her bedroom window, which means it's now not a bedroom anymore.
Right.
Because you have to have a window in a bedroom, and we didn't need that extra space for the master suite. As well, we didn't go all the way back to the same depth as the bottom floor, which meant we got a big, huge skylight in the family room. Whereas if we'd gone all the way across, it would have been darker in the family room. Right. So think about these things. I mean, not just from a function standpoint, not just from a budget standpoint, but it's also like, you know, how do you want to finish the space?
Absolutely.
Because it's going to impact your dollars to make the space beautiful at the end.
You have to be very realistic about it. I totally agree.
Yeah.
The other thing that's absolutely so important is the seamless end of the old house and the beginning of the new. And so you have to look at all the trim work that's in the existing house. You have to look at, you know, the period of the house. You have to really make sure the most successful renovation for us is that no one knows it's a renovation. That extension, we've done them in small, narrow homes where we've had the house just bluntly and we added this huge kitchen and the upper level. But you don't know, it just appears seamless. And I think that when you can achieve that, when people just assume that this is the way it always was, that is the mark of a successful reno.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And domino effect. So, you know, people hire you, you're going to go in, you're going to do an addition, and people will say, well, how much does this cost? How much? But then what they forget to realize is that maybe they don't like the trim in the existing house. So they think, oh, well, why don't we just get new trim throughout the whole house? And I don't really love the doors. So why don't we just get new doors and new door hardware and new flooring? And so all of a sudden you have this domino effect, how it spills, the renovation spills into the existing home. And so you have to factor that in as well. Because if you're not going to touch the existing home, then yes, that's one cost.
Right.
But if you are going to, which it generally does.
It generally does.
And particularly if you're trying to achieve that flow.
Exactly.
You know, it's the time to upgrade some other things in the original house as well.
Most definitely. And people generally embrace it, and that's probably why we're cautious with the renovation itself. So you look at that and say, how much space do they legitimately need, that they genuinely want to use? And that's really important to think about.
As a designer, though, don't your eyes start to light up when you hear about the snowball effect? When they're like, you know what, let's just change all the doors. Let's change all the trim. Don't you start thinking, this is looking good?
It scares me, because most people come to us and they tell us a budget up front, and so I feel like I'm being a bit of a policeman, right? I'm like, oh, I don't know if you can, and I do feel like I'm trying to keep them from going too far, because then when you get to the point where it's like we're bringing all the old furniture back in, and they can't afford new furniture, or they can't afford new light fixtures, and that's disappointing.
Well, that's also, and then I'm sure you do the same. We try and then phase it. A lot of people will go to a phase 2, and even when we're doing the initial, we'll sit and say, listen, we can attack that one later. That's not a huge thing. That's just a cosmetic fix. And those are things that then they can do, and they can breathe a little bit, because invariably that domino effect does exist. And people will look at the old furniture going back and go, really tired, really want to change it, because they love the new space and they're excited about it. So, but you do have to just, as you say, work in stages.
Yeah, okay, good psychology there. I like that.